Hi, my name is Michael Hare, and thank you for joining me for my final presentation online and in person. So a little about me. I grew up in Bakersfield, California, and I went to Bakersfield Christian High School and graduated in 2020. This summer I was the estimating and DevOps intern here at AC Electric, and this fall I'll be starting my senior year at Baylor University in Waco, Texas. My major is electrical and computer engineering, and my minor is in math. So I don't really know what I'm planning on doing after school, but after I graduate from Baylor, I plan on going to a graduate school to get an MBA. So for today's agenda, we'll start with a company analysis before going into my own internship experience, then my lean proposal, and then at the end for any questions. So for the company analysis. AC Electric was founded in 1945 and is one of the largest electrical contractors here in Southern California, or in Central California. And then they have offices in 3 cities, Bakersfield, Fresno, and Visalia. And in Bakersfield, they have 3 different offices, headquarters, B division, and here at Construction Services. So AC Electric's vision is to be the leader in electrical construction, industrial automation, services, and the markets they serve. And they relentlessly pursue an accident-free workplace, and then while striving to earn unparalleled loyalty from all their customers, they try to differentiate themselves by offering creative solutions, and also trying to attract and retain the best and brightest talent. And they also strive to exceed all the expectations from all their stakeholders. To achieve their mission, AC Electric has laid out some key values such as integrity, quality, professionalism, knowledge, safety, service, family, community, and to encompass them all desire. So for the 2025 conditions of satisfaction, I laid out some key points when reading it over. So for people, they want to have a robust pipeline of leadership talent at all key levels, while also assembling the right expertise into cross-functional teams to deliver great projects. And then for markets, they want to have a profitable growth with robust cash generation, while also having a continued growth in the current markets of Bakersfield, Fresno, and Visalia, while building strong footholds in the SoCal region and Sacramento. For growth, they want to have a minimum of 10% operating income and days sales outstanding under 40 days, while achieving a $250 million in revenue for the year end of 2025. For pre-construction, they want to have at least 35% of their work projects consist of requiring their pre-construction services, and these services are technology-driven installation, planning, and fabrication. For the services and special projects, they want it to make up at least 25% of their work, and their owner direct strategies help build AC Electric's competitive advantage. So while working at AC, I worked mostly with estimating and DevOps, and I reported directly to Dan Alexander, who is the pre-construction services manager, and Heather Irvin, who is the director of IT. And then both of them directly report to Darren Alexander. I also reported to Michelle Clawwater, who is the talent strategist and the intern program administrator. She directly reports to Jennifer Blackwood, who in turn also reports to Darren Alexander. Now for my internship experience. So while at AC, I worked with many different people, and I worked with Emily Turner in DevOps, and she was the systems analyst. Then I also worked with Karen Hendricks and Matt Barbell in IT, and they were the network administrator and network engineer. And I also worked with Candace Blair in procurement, and she is the director of procurement, and Cal Sanders in renewables, who is the senior project manager. So I learned a lot while working here at AC Electric. To begin with the programs and softwares. So I first learned Monday.com, GoForms, and Excel Visual Basics. Monday.com is a collaborative cloud-based software that one can create boards on to help keep track of their projects and collaborate with others. And then GoForms is an application where people can create digital PDFs using either a PDF view or a simple list view. And then you can use a variety of fields such as signatures, text, numbers, among many other things. And then Excel Visual Basics is a coding language where one can deal with, or can do calculations and edit the Excel worksheets. And then I also learned about many different electrical materials while here at AC, such as conduit, switches, boxes, rings, connectors, and wires. Here you can see a picture of some of that material. And then I also learned a lot through the PE Academy class, such as labor units and the 4 components that make them up, and then the 3 different NICA difficulty levels. And then one of the assignments was to do a manual takeoff, and I worked with Dan who helped me actually do it properly, and we used the lighting and power plan from the Fresno office. And here you can see the 2 plans, and then the 4 takeoff sheets that I used to complete it. And then in the last class, I learned about the AC phase codes and cost codes. Here you can see an example base code. The first 2 numbers are the major area code. The second 2 numbers are the minor area code. The first number after the dash is the cost designator code. And the last 2 numbers are the cost code. So I did a lot while at AC, and then using Monday.com, I created 3 different boards. The first board was the Blue Blazer recognition program. It was previously housed on a hard-to-manage website, so I moved it to Monday.com, where it's much easier to manage and use, and it also brought over many of the features that it previously had. And then so employees will use the form that I made to nominate others for any outstanding work they see. And then the data is sent to the board where it can be moved around to the different groups using the programmable buttons. And then the automations will help make the process more efficient and automated. And then the second board I created was that of a software inventory board. This board combined data from 2 other boards that had some duplicate data, and then I also improved the process by adding new columns and deleting those that weren't necessary. And then the third board I created was a time-off request form/board. And then using Go Forms, I created a variety of different form templates. These templates were that of a PDF view or just a simple list view. When working with a PDF view, I was given some PDFs, and then other ones I was tasked with creating by using a Word doc. And then I used a variety of different fields, and I also was tasked with using formulas to properly fill in some of the data. And then once the forms were created, I also created some workflows to help autofill emails before they were sent, and then to also transfer data between applications. Here's the Blue Blazer form that I created, and then there's the board with some test data, and then here's one of the Go forms that I created. Using Excel, I also did many different things. First of all, I updated and improved the estimate bid summary sheet. I created some new links between the different worksheets within the workbook. And I also added formulas to help allocate indirect costs between bid items. And I simplified the allocation of equipment and support costs between bid items. I also did a general mapping of the EBS itself. For the quantity estimate report workbook, I used the Visual Basics to help automatically insert rows and create new sheets between the label sets of different sets of data. And then I created a material index catalog for procurement, and this was to help facilitate the bids of any materials that cost over $10,000. I used a website called Tracer to help find the average market price of materials in different sizes. And then working with Kyle, I created a solar customer list. Using Zoho, I obtained the customer information such as their name, phone number, and email. And then some other stuff I did while working at AC was I created some new Word template conversions. The current company Word templates were outdated and then didn't really work properly with the headers and footers. So I created new ones, and now they properly work. Then I also did some wiki page updates, so I updated some current pages and then created some of my own new ones for the Blue Blazer board that I made. And then throughout the internship, we did some job walks with the other interns, such as the KHS solar site, the Bussy Owen School, the Amazon warehouse, the White Pine solar site, Matilda Torres High School, and Porterville Community College. I also participated in the book clubs with the other interns, where we read 7 Habits, Extreme Ownership, and 2 Second Wing. And then I also participated in some other intern activities, such as the meet and greets, the rafting trip, the different workshops, such as the resume writing, the LinkedIn workshop, and the leadership seminar. Here's a picture of some code that I wrote during the summer, the material catalog, and then one of the templates that I made. So here are my 5 biggest takeaways from working here this summer. The first one was gaining real-world experience, just by coming to work every day, working with a team, getting to know people. And the second one was that of the 12 meet and greets that we had. It was nice to hear some of the life stories of those who hold leadership roles here. And then the job walks, it was nice to see how some of the projects that were being worked on here in the office actually translated to being done in the field. And then working with multiple departments, I was tasked with, I reported to estimating and DevOps throughout the summer. And I also occasionally worked with other departments to complete some side projects. And then it was nice to see how different departments worked in the company as I learned many different parts. And then it was also nice to see how they collaborated together at times. And then I also participated in lots of meetings throughout the summer, either in person or virtually. And this was due to the DevOps team, Heather and Emily, being located remotely in Portland. So we had a 15-minute daily meeting just to see how everyone's doing and what we were doing for the day. And then we had a variety of other meetings throughout the summer. So I don't really have too many recommendations for improvements, but I would like to see more intern activities outside of just the rafting trip and occasional dinners, such as like a bowling night, to help get to know everyone better throughout the summer. And then I would have liked to done more job walks, either as a group or just alone with me with my team. It would have been nice to see how some of the previously seen job walks had developed throughout the summer. Here's some pictures from my internship. This was at the job walk at Bessie Owens School. Here's us looking over the electrical system for the building. And then here's us looking over some electrical plans. There's the rafting trip, and then here's me and Dan when we won Best Pizza at the pizza party.
Oh, was that Best Pizza? Is that what I heard?
Yep. Now for my lean proposal, which is a new time off request procedure. So the current procedure is done all through email. So an employee has to manually create an email every time they want to ask for time off. And if the manager accepts, they will forward that email to accounting, where accounting will then store and track the time through shared Outlook folders. Here's an example of what an email could possibly look like. So when looking through the current procedure, I've noticed some limitations, such as that it was a slow process as nothing was automated. And then it was also not standardized as everyone writes emails differently. And this leads for the potential for many errors, as people could either mistype or potentially send the email to the wrong person. And then it's also a slow process, as they might have to follow the steps on the wiki every time they want to create a new email. And then an issue for accounting is that the emails kept in the shared folders could accidentally be moved, which would be an issue when tracking time, keeping track of the time off. And then accounting could also potentially receive multiple back and forth emails between the employee and manager if they're accidentally CC'd on their original email. So here's a new process that I was tasked with making during my time here at AC, and that was the form and board using Monday.com. So first, the employee will fill out the form on using the Monday form, and the data will automatically get emailed to their manager. And if accepted, the email is automatically sent to accounting. If declined, the email is sent back to the employee stating that their request was denied. The form data is then sent to the Monday.com board, where the manager can either accept or deny the request. And accounting can either keep track of the time here or through email. Once accepted, an event is then created on the Monday.com calendar for everyone who has access to Monday to view. And here's the form that I made. So while doing this process, I also noticed some limitations, and that was mostly with the automations, but there's some other stuff with Monday.com itself. So first of all, the fields could not automatically be filled in, such as the name, initials, and manager. And then also the emails could only be sent by those who created the automation, which in this case was me, so this would be a problem for the manager, as they would think the email was from me and not from the person actually requesting time off. And then to view the calendar, one must have access to a Monday.com account. So this would lead to more accounts needing to be purchased. And then I also wasn't able to send the data to Microsoft Teams calendar, which is the calendar that most people in the company use. And then these limitations, along with the current procedures limitations, led me to my actual suggested procedure. This procedure is the time off request using Go forms. So this form is very similar to the Monday form in how it looks, but it's housed on Go forms. And this allows for, this autofills in the employee's initials, email, manager, and manager's email based off the name they type in on the first field. And then it also employs the use of workflows to help send automated standardized emails based on the data that was filled out in the form. And it will actually send from the person that it's supposed to. And then once the data has been filled out and accepted, it's sent to the SQL database, which SQL is a structured query log that is used to process data, and it can do pretty much anything with it. And then once in the SQL database, it will create a Excel log to make it easier for accounting to track, so they don't have to do it through email. And then a calendar can also be created for everyone to view, not just those who have access to Go forms. And then a weekly reminder email will also be made to send to accounting so they know which employee has time off for that week. Here's a potential form that I created. As I stated before, the email initials, manager, and manager email are automated based off the name typed in at the first field. And then the number of days off are also auto-calculated based off the first and last day off. Here's the flow chart for my process. First, the employee will fill out the form, and then that data will be auto-filled into an automated email and then sent to their manager. Once the manager receives the form, once the manager receives the email, they can look it over and click on the link to either approve or deny the request. If denied, an email will be sent back to the employee stating their request was denied. If accepted, an email will be sent to accounting, and the data will be sent to the SQL database. Once in the database, it will then be sent to the Excel log, the master calendar, and then be sent to the weekly reminder email when that needs to be sent. Here's an example time off log. So this can be sorted in anything by any category in the first row, such as name, initials, last day off, time off type, etc. And then once the time has passed, this data will either get moved to a different workbook or deleted altogether, just to keep this workbook clean and up to date. So while this is overall an improvement from the other procedures, there are also some potential downsides that need to be taken into consideration. So while most managers already have access to Go forms, there are about 15 to 17 that would need new Go forms licenses, which are about $50 a month per license. And in total, this would be about $10,000 per year. While this may seem like a downside, this allows for the automated emails approval step to actually function properly. It also allows for the SQL database to only obtain data that's been approved and not all data. And this in turn allows the Excel log, calendar, and weekly reminder email to work properly. Another downside is the 20 cents per form that cost per when each form is filled out. And this is due to it being a public form, which allows anyone to fill out the form, not just those who have a Go Forms account. This is cheaper than giving everyone an account. As seen before, it's $50 per month, and that will add up pretty quickly. So some benefits this process will bring to AC is that it standardizes the time off request process and makes it more efficient as many steps are automated. This allows for everyone involved, the employees, accounting, and managers to spend less time reviewing and requesting for time off and more time doing actually important work. It allows for better communication of time off between employees, as they can just use the master calendar to see who has time off instead of asking around or looking at different places or different calendars to see who has time off for the week. And then another indirect benefit is that more forms will be moved and created on Go forms, as more managers will have access to it. This allows for a more standardized procedure of where forms are created and stored, and allows for more collaboration between different departments. Here are my takeaways from the books when that helped me when making my proposal. So from the first book, 2 Second Lien, my biggest takeaway was that of eliminating waste. The first one was that of defects, as accounting would have to go in and fix any errors that were made in the emails. That of wasted motion, as employees would have to take the time to create the email and then potentially look at the wiki page if needed. And then that of excess inventory, if any back and forth emails were sent to accounting, they'd have to go in and delete those and just so they can be down to one email. And then the second takeaway was that of continuous improvement. So we always need to be improving, and that was shown by my process of going from the current procedure, improving that to the new process, and then improving that even further with my suggested procedure. The second book was that of extreme ownership. My biggest takeaway from that was cover and move. And this is the most fundamental tactic and means teamwork. So I wanted to create a forum where everyone must work together to be successful, because if one fails, accounting managers or the employees, everyone fails. And then this procedure will help everyone work together, which is teamwork, and then leads to more success, as there won't be as many errors. And then my next biggest takeaway was that it was simple. I wanted to make a form that was easy to understand and fill out, so I can spend less time on it and more time on other work. And then the last book was that of 7 Habits. So this didn't help me as much with my proposal, as we read this towards the end after I created what I wanted to do. But when looking back at the process, I noticed some takeaways that did help. The first thing was that of put first things first. I wanted to make a simple form that would allow them to fill it out quickly so they could spend more time on other important work and less time on requesting time off. And then the second takeaway was that of think win-win. I wanted to make a beneficial process for everyone involved, the managers, accounting, and employees. Thank you for joining me for my presentation today and allowing me to be here this summer at AC Electric.
Does anyone have questions for Michael?
I have one. Do you feel coming into the summer with an electrical contractor, has that steered you in a direction post-college? Or getting any thoughts on any ideas or suggestions for that for yourself?
Maybe a little bit, tied more into what I was actually doing at school with electrical engineering. I'm still not too sure what I want to do after graduate school. So I got this year and another 2 years to figure that out.
Yeah, cool.
Are there any skills that you learned during your summer here that are gonna help you in your education, that are gonna help you in school?
Yes, probably most of all communication, as I struggle with public speaking and then just communicating. So with all the different meetings that we had and then just talking to the interns, I improved my communication skills.
Any question? Of the 3 books that we read, which one was your favorite?
Probably Extreme Ownership. I liked all the different war stories between each chapter. Those were fun to read.
And the group leader.
Yeah, and the group leader.
And most.
Yeah, leadership.
What did you enjoy doing the most during this internship? Like out of all this stuff, from the extracurricular stuff to the actual like sit down at a table and let's do some work stuff, like what did you enjoy doing the most?
Well, it was nice to get to know all the interns and all the different people I worked with. And then I had fun with the rafting trip. That was fun.
What was your biggest challenge this summer, Michael?
Well, my communication skills was a big challenge, and then with working, probably my hardest project was the material index, as I didn't know a lot of that material, like the names, so they weren't the exact same on Tracer. And then it was just a lot of data input, as there was over 1,000 lines of material.
Yeah, you mentioned communication skills. First off, great presentation, so I don't see that communication skill issue that you mentioned. But with that, is there anything we could have done to better prepare someone who's uncomfortable presenting?
It's maybe just more practice. Not necessarily maybe presentations, just more like one-on-one talks or group talks.
So pushing an intern out into having to lead more things. Got it.
So what's the one thing that you procrastinated on?
Probably the readings. I'd always read as close to the actual book club as possible. I had to put that with work, and then I also had summer school throughout the summer. So I didn't have as much time to read as I would have liked.
So your flow chart for your lead improvement kind of reminded me of like the process that we do to fill out our time cards. So, you know, you mentioned possibly moving more stuff to Go Forms. Would we ever either eventually make our time cards also go on Go Forms, or you know, would we be able to integrate your stuff for the time off with like our Excel or Microsoft Access?
You could probably integrate it with Excel. Once it's in SQL, you can really do anything with it. So we could probably have it directly go to and fill in the day you have time off for, or week, whatever amount of time you're taking off.
Jennifer Blackwood has a question. Go ahead, Jen.
Thank you. Walk us through, Mike, your journey on learning how to use Monday.com, even things that we didn't know that Monday.com could do. How did you learn that program?
So I've used similar programs in the past, well, it's kind of similar to Excel, and then something called Smartsheet. And then Heather Irvin helped me out a lot at the beginning with running through the different features and automations and stuff. And then just using it throughout the summer helped me learn it more.
A follow-up question. Tell us, I don't know if you can quantify it, but I mean, about the times where you felt like, man, I'm failing, I'm not getting this is not working. What was that like, and how'd you get through it?
I guess just like when working with some of the projects, like on Monday or Go Forms, like some of the features that I didn't know how to use or if they were even available. So I would either ask Heather or Emily or just look it up online, try and figure it out.
If I can speak to that one, when I had a problem I didn't know how to solve, I usually went to Michael.
Wow, that's cool.
Anyone else have anything?
I got one back here. So you did, you went through some slides on our values and our conditions of satisfaction, all that. I'm getting this perspective that values aren't what we write on that board, but they're the minimum behaviors that we will accept. As you looked at those values, which of them did you go, this company doesn't have it, or this company needs to focus on improving it more? Or did you come up with something that says, this is what this company's really values, not these things that they wrote down? Kind of a loaded question, but so pick one of those.
Let me go back to the values real quick.
Okay?
I mean, I think they embodied all of them throughout the summer. I don't really see one on here that would need more work. I thought everyone was professional when working here, and then the service was very nice. The quality of our products are outstanding. And then, at least while my time here, I didn't really have any safety issues that would need to be taken into account. And I thought it was a family environment. Everyone gets to know each other. They walk by, ask how you are during the day, and it's a good community. I thought everyone had a desire to be here every day.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Jen.
2 follow-ups. First is, I'm sure that you had some preconceived notions about AC. I mean, do you know Joe Alexander Jr.?
Yeah, I know.
And of course, you know Darren, and your dad knows Darren. So I'm sure you came in with some preconceived notions. What surprised you?
Well, I thought it was more just electrical stuff, but they do a lot more than just electrical. With all the solar and then actually building some of the buildings, it's kind of cool to see, especially on the job lots.
All right, cool. And then my final question is, given what you've learned over the summer, what are you going to take back and consult or suggest to your dad for his own company?
I like the pre-construction services. It's kind of cool to see that they get all that work done. A nice air conditioning building. So I think maybe it's something like that.
So you mentioned you got to work with several departments. Is there a department that you wish you could have worked with, and why?
Also a loaded question.
Maybe someone with design to see how some of those plans are made. Cause I've never done anything like that. It'd been kind of cool. Work with more programs.
Did Heather raise her hand?
Yeah. Heather, did you have a question?
I did, but then she said my exact question. So, but I mean, I guess the only addition to that question I was gonna say is, now that you've been an intern, would you do it again? And then it was gonna follow up with, if so, what other departments would you like to be more involved in? So.
Yeah, I'd do it again. It was a fun experience. I had a good time this summer.
All right.
I have a quick comment. I can tell just by working with you, you're probably not a big fan of standing up in front of a group and presenting like this, but you did a really good job, and just kind of some guidance for your future. Don't be intimidated by it. You did great, so just have that in the back of your mind in the future.
Thank you.
Any last questions for Michael?
Also a comment, just very thorough job. I personally love to ask like hard questions, and you made it hard for me to find one because you did such a thorough job explaining every point all the way to the end. So, great job.
Thank you.
Do you have any advice for the future interns or other groups that may watch this?
Maybe just get to know the other interns earlier in the summer. Then you'll get, as I didn't really get to know them as much till towards maybe like the last half. So.
And given you have 2.5 days left, we will see the Go Forms project complete and done.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
He has a building to build also.
Yeah.
A 3-story building to build, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael.
Awesome job, Michael.
Thank you.